Hello everybody, my name is Sergey. Welcome to ZAPTEST webinar. On today's webinar we'll discuss, and I will demonstrate the ways to use ZAPTEST to automate multiple applications at a time. Before we start, as usual, I will ask all participants to remain silent during the webinar presentation. You can keep your audio lines muted. If you have any questions, please submit them using the WebEx chat, address them to me, and I will review and answer your questions at the end of our webinar during our Q&A session. The webinar will consist of 3 parts. At the beginning, I will give a brief introduction of ZAPTEST, company and products. Then we'll have main technical part of the webinar, and at the end, I will allocate some time for Q&A session. Let me start with ZAPTEST introduction. As a company, we've been in the business over 20 years. We position ourselves as a full-stack cross-platform testing solution. With ZAPTEST, we can automate applications on mobile, Windows, Mac, Linux platforms, and we fully support agile development methodology. We are based in Atlanta, Georgia. Our core technology is one script, which allows us to script test procedures once and execute it anywhere. We are the test optimization leaders, which means that with ZAPTEST you can automate any application, you can meet any development schedule, and you can accommodate any skill set of your team members. As a full-stack technology, we provide end-user test automation in a cross-platform fashion. This means that you can create your test script on one platform or environment and play it as is anywhere else. Besides that, we offer other technologies which are not commonly offered in the industry. For example, with ZAPTEST you can auto-generate test documentation. This may offset a lot of man-hours of writing documentation manually. ZAPTEST has doc module which can help with documentation. We also have technology for parallel device execution. The MRun ensures just-in-time regression testing. With the MRun, you can connect to multiple devices with different platforms or different browsers and execute same tests simultaneously on all of them. We also have device host management private cloud system which we provide to ZAPTEST users. The farm offers test device management capability and provides universal access to the devices across organization for the purpose of mobile application deployment, manual testing, automated testing, and parallel test execution. With ZAPTEST today, you can do API or web services testing. You can use the tool for an API standalone test automation or for creating combined API and UI testing framework. The load component enables our users to do API performance testing as a continuation of their quality assurance process. As you can see, ZAPTEST today can be used as a one-stop solution for majority of quality assurance needs. Okay, now I will move on to technical part of my webinar. Let me explain what I plan to show to achieve during the session. The goal is to demonstrate how we can use ZAPTEST to test multiple application windows on a local test environment. And also I will show how we can use keyboard operations. So for my test, I need to open a browser, navigate to our website, zaptest.com. Then I want to find this text. Then I will need to select this text, copy it. As a next step, I will open empty Notepad, paste the text to the Notepad, and then save the Notepad with some unique file name using the save as. So this is what I want to achieve with test case with the script that I will create during the webinar. Let me start from the very beginning. So I have launched the browser window. I'm using Firefox. Then my browser is navigated to our website. The home page, this is starting point of my test case. I will scan it. To scan, I need to press the Scan GUI button, which can be found on the GUI map. Move my mouse over the browser window and click inside it. Here I will change the name for the application object. I will use browser. I'm going to leave view name default as a view. I have my homepage loaded. I want to verify a couple of things on top of it. Just the ZAPTEST logo and the solution link. To keep my objects list short, I deleted all other objects. As a next step, I need to scroll to find this text. This will be my next scan. To scan, I now need to press this button. Click inside the browser. ZAPTEST shows that the application object remains the same. I don't need to change this. Of course, I need to define another view. Okay, from this scan, I will select and keep few objects. I selected this image picture with the girl. I can select this title. And I will keep this line and this line. Okay, let me delete all other objects to make this view look more clear. Okay, now I have objects which I need to work with the browser window. I can start building my test script. I will use VB script. I'm going to start with launching the browser. For this, I need to use application object, which has name browser. I will select launch method. For browser type, I will use Firefox. A second argument, which is optional and can be used for providing URL. I will type a website's URL. Okay, after my homepage is loaded on the new browser window, I need to verify it. I'm going to use these two objects, ZAPTEST logo text and the solution link. In both cases, I use exist method. Next step for me will be to scroll down the page until I can see this section. I can use scroll down by taking the object which I need to scroll to and use scroll to method. Let me add some comments. So this step is responsible for, let's use load. Okay, how I can scroll to image? Of course, I need to use the image object which I have defined. Select scroll to method. Scroll to method includes optional arguments which I may need to update, but I need to first see how my scroll works with the default settings. So I want to leave it as is. As a next step, I need to select this text. And I will be selecting this text by using drag and drop movement of my mouse. If I start swiping from this point and edit here, I expect all my text to be selected. To define start and end point, I will use first and last word of my text. For this object, I will modify text property. Let me keep just the first word in there. I'll change precision to high, and I will use recognition type as partial. So ZAPTEST will be able to identify a single word of this line of text. I will use locate operation to make sure that ZAPTEST correctly finds the object. This ensures that this text is unique. And I will do the same for the last word. Let me select include only the last word in my text property. Change precision and change recognition type to partial. Let me verify its position. Okay, ZAPTEST finds it in the place where it should be. Now I will use these two objects to define relative objects to start and end for the drop. So what I did, I manually defined this object. I give it name object drag and make it relative to the first word in the paragraph. Same way I can define object to drop to finish this swipe operation. Place it right here. And relative to the last word. Okay, how I can define drag and drop operation? For this in ZAPTEST we use swipe to, and for the swipe to I need to provide two objects, start and end. So I'll start with by inserting this object, which is starting point. I select swipe to method, and as its argument I need to provide a destination object, which is this one. It has to be on the same line. So correct definition is like this. So before making the swipe operation, I can verify this title. It exists. I'm going to save this test. And I can try and run the steps that I defined so far. So let me close this browser instance and run the test. Okay, looks like my select does not work as I expected. As soon as I start swiping, it selects the whole text. Okay, but I can do the opposite way. I can start selecting from bottom and finish selecting on top. Let me change this real quick. Also, I noticed that end of swipe should not be too far from the first word. Otherwise, it will lose the selection. Okay, I replaced step to make the swipe operation. Let me see how it works. I'll run from this line. Okay, now I'm satisfied with my text selection step. Now I need to copy this text. One of the way to copy it is simply pressing Control C keys on the keyboard. And I'm going to do the same thing. For this, in ZAPTEST, we can use keyboard namespace operations. To do this, I will include ZAP namespace, expand it to the keyboard. Since I need to use combination of keys, Control and C, I need to do first key down. With key down or key press, I need to provide integer value for the key code, but for convenience in ZAPTEST we provide collection of keys. How to reach that collection? Once again, I need to use ZAP namespace, expand to keys. And here I select Control. Okay, next key I need to use will be key C, and for this I need to use key press. Okay, and to complete the key combination, I need to release Control key, and for this I will use key up. Okay, let me test this part. All right, after this step, I should have the text copied to my clipboard. Let me see if we can paste it. Yeah, it's there. All right, this part works. Now what I need to do next, I'm going to continue working with different application with the Notepad. In ZAPTEST, I'm going to scan the Notepad window. Let me press scan button, move my mouse over the Notepad. ZAPTEST correctly identifies that that's the new application object. Use Notepad for the name. Okay, let me keep file menu item for the from the collection of objects. I think this is all I need. For each application object, we have class Untitled, which allows ZAPTEST to uniquely identify application under test. For my Notepad, the values are here, and for my browser, the values are, of course, corresponding to the browser window. These values can be updated if you have problems with ZAPTEST recognizing or locating correct browser or application under test window. So these values need to be reviewed and changed. Okay, let me continue my scripting with next step, which will be launching the Notepad. So for the Notepad object, I need once again select launch command. This is the application I need to launch, Notepad. And once the Notepad is launched, I should be able to verify file menu item. use this method for this. All right, once the Notepad launched, I want to paste the text that I copied from my browser. And for this, I will be using, once again, the keyboard operation. A combination of keys that I need to define is Control V. I can simply copy these 3 steps. I just need to change the key press for the key in the middle, which should be the D letter. Let me test this part. I'm going to close the Notepad and use to run from this line to launch it. I see that text has been copied that I had in my clipboard. All right, as the next step, I need to save this file. To save the document, I need to press the File menu. I use click method for this. Let's see what happens when I press the File menu. Then I need to find and click on Save As menu item. I can define the object for this menu item manually. Let me add new object. I want to keep its text as close as possible in its text property. Let me see if this part works. I will run from this line. It works, and as a result, I have new application window open. Save as. It's a new application object, as you see, and I need to scan it using new application. I will use save as name for the object. All right, to save the file, I need to type file name or file path and press the save button. Okay, I'm going to select and keep a few objects from this view. This object I will use to, this is where I will type the file name. More toward the middle of the object, and I will make it relative to the file name. Okay, for the file name itself, I want to make it partial to ensure that ZAPTEST won't confuse it with the text, which may be visible in the text box. Save as can be used for verification. Let me also make it partial. Okay, once I have the Save As dialog open, also I can verify its properties. So I use these 2 objects just to verify that my Save As dialog is fully loaded. And after that, I can start typing name of the file. I want to use unique file name for the document. The idea is that if I run my test again, the script should create and save a different file with a new name. One of the way how to define unique file name, I can use current date, or I can define random number. Both features are available in ZAPTEST. I will show how we can use date and time to define the file name. Let me create variable, file name, and it's going to include the path. I want it to be in my temp folder. Then will be the file name, and here I will use get formatted date time. To access the method, can use ZAP namespace, select common section, and from here I need to find get formatted date value. Okay, as the first argument for this file, I need to provide current date. I can simply type current or now as its argument. And for the format, I need to include year, 4 digits for year, 2 digits for month, 2 digits for day, hours, and minutes. I believe that should be enough. Okay, as a result of this method, I will have string value that will have current date and time. Then I need to add the extension for the file. And that should be it. Let me see what I get generated. I can put a breakpoint on this line and run it from here. In local step, I can see value of the variable, which looks good to me. Okay, now I can use this variable to type in the save as dialog. Let me change this name for the object. Of course, I need to use type method to type the value, and I need to use my file name variable to type. To submit the file name, I can either click on the save button or I can press enter key. To press enter key, I can simply append the enter keyword, and that has to be enclosed in curly brackets. Keyword itself must be uppercase. Alternative way, I can use ZAP keyboard operation, key press, and reference to the enter key. Alright, so let me test this part. Okay, I still have the save as dialog displayed. If I run it from here, it should type the file name and close it. File name is not valid. Let me see why it's not valid. There is backslash. Let me run it. Okay, it's good, it's saved. Now I need to close this file. To close this file, I can do file exit. For my Notepad, I will define another object for exit. The step to exit the file will be, first I need to click the file menu and then click the exit. Let me run. Okay, here I have the problem. Nothing happens. ZAPTEST cannot focus on the application under test, which is a Notepad window. Let me stop this test. The problem is that when I save my file, its title changes. Now it includes the name of the file which I defined. How can I work around this? In my Notepad application, I still have the untitled, which was learned from the time when I scanned the window. I can simply remove the dynamic part, leave only the Notepad. Also, I can change this to exact match. It won't hurt. With exact match, we usually have quicker recognition of application under test. So I expect this to work. Let me see if ZAPTEST will focus on my Notepad with the new title settings. Okay, now it worked. Okay, last step for me is to close the browser window. I use application object for the browser and the close method. If I run this step solo, my browser got closed. All right, now I finished creating my test script. I did not put comments on all steps. We can do it real quick. So this is copy text. This is open Notepad. It's paste the text. Okay, this is my save file. Let's exit the Notepad and close the browser. So this is my test script. Let me see how it runs from start to finish. Press the run button. The scrolling can be optimized. If you see that it's taking too many scrolls, you can change distance of each scroll, and also you can reduce time it checks for a particular object to scroll. So all that is configurable. Okay, now my test moves to the Notepad, saves the file. I can confirm that I have closed both Notepad and browser window, and I can open and view my test results. Okay, expand steps, and when I look at step details and test objects, I can see all my steps that I used. So this is my swipe operation. It shows me coordinates of start and end point. Also, I have reported keyboard operations, key down, key press, key up. I'll launch for the Notepad. Keyboard operations once again. And then UI operations to save new file. This is file name, including the enter key, closing the Notepad and closing browser. So this is exactly what I expect to see. This is pretty much what I wanted to show during the webinar. Okay, I think it's time to move to a Q&A session. Okay, let me see what questions I got so far. Okay, one question here is, what if displayed text changes? Will the test work? Very good question. For my test, as I define it, it will not work because I used the paragraph to define start and end point of the drag and drop operation. If I expect this text to change, I need a different way to define start and end point for the swipe operation. I can use these two objects for start and end point relative to something that is consistent. I can use either image object or I can use this title. Let me demonstrate it real quick. Okay, let me do set new parent object for start. And new parent object for the endpoint. In the script, the reference must be updated automatically. Parent object for object drop and object drag changes. This should take care about the fact that my text may be different. Let me see. If I need to change anything, it's better to select high precision, so ZAPTEST finds this text with the same size. It's important for the position of these two objects. If I keep scalability option default parent size, I should be able to run it. Okay, it worked. I expect to have passed status for my test result. Let me move to the next question. All right, I see a question about the tool. Is this free-to-use tool to test commercial applications? The version that I'm using, it's a free edition version. You can download it and use it for free. There's no restrictions, no limitations. Free edition has limitation on its functionality. You won't be able to do enterprise features like looping, modularization, global parameters, few other things. If you are interested in enterprise edition, you need to contact ZAPTEST. If you need to know exactly what differences between free edition and enterprise edition, you can find it on our website. I can show you real quick. If you go to the free edition, I'll scroll down. Yeah, this is the table that outlines the differences. There is another question. Is it possible to change clipboard from script? Yeah, if you need to see what you can do with a clipboard from ZAPTEST perspective, we provide clipboard namespace for this. You can use either get clipboard or set clipboard. These are two methods that you can use to get value from the clipboard or to set the value of the clipboard. This method returns a string value. Let's step real quick to demonstrate. For my browser application object, I can use custom report step. True value will define its status. Value for the detail of the step, I will use my get clipboard operation. I don't want to run the whole test. Okay, I will let my test to select and copy the text, and then I will see what I got in the test results. Let's stop it. Open the result. This is the content of the clipboard, the text that I copied. To reset content of the clipboard, you can use set clipboard. And here you can specify a new value. If you just need to empty the clipboard, you can provide empty string like this. Let me check another question. Do we have to create object repository for each test? Yes, for free edition, you will have to do this. For Enterprise Edition, we offer more ways to share resources. For Free Edition, you will need to create object repository for each test. Okay, time check. We're close to the top of the hour, and I don't see any other questions. All right, I want to thank everybody who joined. Hope you find it useful. Please keep using ZAPTEST. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to use our forum. Submit your questions, and we will assist you this way. Once again, thank you very much for participating. Have a nice day. Goodbye.